Man is a mystery. It must be unraveled. And if you spend your whole life unraveling it, don't say that you've wasted time. I am studying that mystery because I want to be a human being. These words, uttered by the young Fyodor Dostoevsky, echo through the centuries, capturing the essence of one of the greatest explorers of the human soul who ever lived. Born in 1821 in Moscow, Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky grew up during a period of intense social and political change in Tsarist Russia. His childhood was marked by contrasts. The son of an authoritarian military doctor and a gentle mother, Dostoevsky experienced the complexities of human nature from an early age. This duality would become a central theme in his works. 19th century Russia was a cauldron of ideas in turmoil. East and West clashed. Tradition and modernity coexisted in constant tension. It was in this context that Dostoevsky emerged as a unique voice, capable of capturing the contradictions and anguish of a society in transformation. Dostoevsky's relevance for us today lies in his incredible ability to illuminate the darkest corners of the human psyche, revealing universal truths about our nature. He was not content with easy answers or simplistic moralisms. Instead, he dove headfirst into the most difficult and controversial questions of his time, and ours. Crime, punishment, free will, the nature of good and evil, the search for meaning in a seemingly meaningless world. These are just some of the themes he addressed with unparalleled depth and nuance. His major works, Crime and Punishment, The Idiot, Demons, and the Brothers Karamazov, are more than mere novels. They are profound psychological explorations, philosophical treatises disguised as fiction that invite us to question our own beliefs and values. Those who think Dostoevsky offers only darkness and despair are mistaken. On the contrary, it is through the courageous exploration of the shadows of the human soul that he shows us a path to light. Dostoevsky's darkness has the power to illuminate our lives in surprising and profound ways. As we delve into the Dostoevskyan universe, we prepare to be challenged, provoked, and above all, transformed. As the author himself reminds us, the soul is healed by being with children. And in this case, the children are the ideas and characters that Dostoevsky brings to life in his immortal pages. The fundamental duality of human nature is one of the most powerful and recurring themes in Dostoevsky's work. He did not see the world in black and white, but in infinite shades of gray. Within each human being, he understood, exists the capacity for both good and evil. This profound understanding of human complexity is what makes his work so relevant and impactful to this day. Consider, for example, the character Rodion Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment. A brilliant young student, Raskolnikov commits a brutal murder, convinced that he is above common morality. However, throughout the novel, we see how he is tormented by his conscience, struggling with the weight of his crime. Raskolnikov is not simply a villain, but a complex human being capable of both cruelty and redemption. This nuanced representation of human nature invites us to look within ourselves with honesty and courage. How many times have we caught ourselves judging others, convinced of our own moral rectitude? Dostoevsky challenges us to recognize that we all carry within us the capacity for both good and evil. Recognizing this duality offers immense potential for personal growth. By accepting our own complexity, we become more compassionate, not only towards others, but also towards ourselves. We set aside simplistic judgments and embrace a deeper, more empathetic understanding of the human condition. Ivan Karamazov, in The Brothers Karamazov, embodies this internal struggle. Intellectual and skeptical, Ivan grapples with fundamental questions about the existence of God and the nature of morality. His famous declaration, "If God does not exist, everything is permitted," encapsulates the central moral dilemma of the work. Ivan represents the conflict between reason and faith, between skepticism and hope, that many of us experience in our own lives. By exploring these complex and contradictory characters, Dostoevsky offers us a mirror in which we can see our own internal struggles reflected. He shows us that it is precisely through the recognition and acceptance of our dual nature that we can begin to grow and evolve as human beings. The practical application of this understanding in our daily lives involves the practice of honest self-reflection and the cultivation of compassion. Instead of denying or repressing the darker aspects of our personality, Dostoevsky encourages us to face them head-on. Only through this courageous confrontation with our own shadows can we begin to integrate them in a healthy way into our personality. This process of integration, though challenging, is profoundly liberating. By accepting our dual nature, we stop wasting energy trying to prove our virtue to the world. Instead, we can focus that energy on the real work of personal growth and self-knowledge. Moreover, this understanding makes us more empathetic and compassionate towards others. Recognizing our own capacity for flaws and weaknesses, we become less likely to judge others for their imperfections. This expanded empathy not only improves our relationships, but also contributes to a more understanding and less polarized society. As we advance in our exploration of the Dostoevskian universe, we keep in mind this central idea. True strength comes not from denying our shadows, but from accepting and integrating them. As Dostoevsky shows us, it is only through the courageous confrontation with our dual nature that we can achieve true personal growth and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Suffering is the sole origin of consciousness. This provocative statement by Dostoevsky leads us to the heart of one of his deepest and most controversial themes, the role of suffering in human life. For many modern readers, Dostoevsky's emphasis on suffering may seem morbid or even masochistic. However, a deeper analysis reveals a powerful and potentially transformative truth. Dostoevsky did not glorify suffering for its own sake. Instead, he saw it as a catalyst for spiritual and moral growth. In his works, suffering often serves as a path to redemption, a means by which characters achieve a deeper understanding of themselves and the world around them. Consider, for example, Raskolnikov's journey in Crime and Punishment. After committing murder, Raskolnikov is tormented by guilt and fear. His psychological suffering is intense and prolonged. However, it is precisely through this suffering that Raskolnikov finally comes to understand the gravity of his crime and the need for redemption. The application of this view of redemptive suffering in our daily lives does not imply seeking out suffering, but learning to respond to life's inevitable adversities in a constructive manner. Dostoevsky invites us to see suffering not as a punishment or a curse, but as an opportunity for growth and transformation. When we face challenges, losses, or failures, we have the choice to let ourselves be defeated or to use these experiences as catalysts for personal growth. Prince Mishkin, the protagonist of The Idiot, offers another powerful example of this perspective. Mishkin, often ridiculed and misunderstood because of his epilepsy and naive nature, maintains an unwavering compassion and kindness. His suffering does not harden or embitter him, but rather deepens his empathy and understanding of others. This idea of redemptive suffering is not limited to Dostoevsky's fiction. Many influential leaders and thinkers, from Nelson Mandela to Viktor Frankl, have spoken about how their experiences of profound suffering led them to transformative insights and a deeper sense of purpose. Cultivating this perspective in our own lives involves the practice of conscious reflection and the development of resilience. When we face adversities, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this experience? How can this make me a stronger, wiser, or more compassionate person? This approach does not deny the reality of suffering or minimize its difficulty. Instead, it gives us a tool to find meaning and purpose even in the most challenging circumstances. It's a way of transforming our struggles into stepping stones for personal growth. Dostoevsky also reminds us that suffering can be a powerful equalizer, connecting us with our shared humanity. When we suffer, we are reminded of our vulnerability and interdependence. This can lead us to greater empathy and compassion for others, breaking down the barriers of ego and isolation. However, it is crucial to understand that Dostoevsky was not promoting passive acceptance of suffering. On the contrary, he advocated for active engagement with our struggles, seeing them as opportunities for self-discovery and transformation. As we continue our journey through Dostoevsky's world, we remember, the goal is not to seek suffering, but to learn to navigate it with grace and purpose when it inevitably occurs. This perspective on suffering is intrinsically linked to broader questions of meaning, purpose, and the search for authenticity in a world that is often chaotic and confusing. In an increasingly complex and often bewildering world, the search for meaning becomes one of the most pressing issues of our existence. Dostoevsky, with his penetrating vision of the human condition, offers profound insights into this search, especially relevant to our era of uncertainties and rapid changes. Nihilism, the belief that life is fundamentally meaningless or purposeless, is a recurring theme in Dostoevsky's works. He saw nihilism not just as an abstract philosophy, but as a potentially destructive force in society and in the individual psyche. However, instead of simply condemning nihilism, Dostoevsky explored it deeply, recognizing it as an understandable, though ultimately inadequate response to the challenges of modernity. Consider, for example, the character of the underground man in the novella Notes from Underground. This anonymous and bitter narrator embodies the alienation and despair that can result from a nihilistic view of the world. He rejects social norms and traditional values, but this rejection leaves him empty and isolated. Through this character, Dostoevsky shows us the dangers of embracing nihilism without offering a constructive alternative. Dostoevsky's response to the challenge of nihilism is not simple or easy, but it is profoundly transformative. He suggests that meaning is not something we passively find in the external world, but something we actively create through our choices and actions. In other words, meaning is something we make, not something we find. This perspective invites us to see our life not as a series of random events, but as a narrative we are actively writing. Dostoevsky invites us to embrace the responsibility of creating meaning in our lives, even, and perhaps especially, in the face of uncertainty and chaos. He shows us that it is precisely our ability to choose to act with purpose in a seemingly meaningless world that defines us as human beings. This idea is powerfully illustrated in Alyosha Karamazov's journey in The Brothers Karamazov. Facing tragedy, doubt, and temptation, Alyosha chooses to persist in his faith and his commitment to love and compassion. His search for meaning is not an easy journey or one free of doubts, but it is one he actively embraces, creating purpose through his choices and actions. The application of this perspective in our own lives involves recognizing our power of choice and our ability to act with intention. Even in the most challenging circumstances, we have the freedom to choose our response. We can choose to act with compassion, seek understanding, create beauty, or fight for justice. Each of these choices is an act of creating meaning. Furthermore, Dostoevsky reminds us of the importance of human connections in the search for meaning. His characters often find purpose through their relationships and interactions with others. This invites us to consider how our connections with others, our family, friends, community, can be sources of meaning and purpose in our lives. The relevance of this message to our modern life is profound. In an era of social media and digital connectivity, many of us experience a paradox of superficial connection and deep isolation. Dostoevsky's vision reminds us of the importance of cultivating authentic and meaningful connections as an antidote to nihilism and alienation. Another crucial aspect of the search for meaning in Dostoevsky is the importance of self-reflection and self-knowledge. His characters often go through intense periods of introspection, grappling with fundamental questions about identity, morality, and purpose. This invites us to do the same in our own lives, to engage in an honest and courageous exploration of who we are and what we value. As we continue our journey through the Dostoevskian universe, we remember the search for meaning is not an easy task or a journey with a clear final destination. It is an ongoing process of creation and discovery, a dance between choice and circumstance, between the individual and the collective. This search for meaning is intrinsically linked to questions of empathy, love, and the struggle against the ego, themes that Dostoevsky explores with unparalleled depth and nuance. In a world often marked by divisions and conflicts, Dostoevsky's message about the importance of empathy and compassion resonates with renewed urgency. Through his works, the Russian author invites us to expand our capacity to understand and connect with others, even, and perhaps especially, with those we consider different or morally flawed. Compassion, in Dostoevsky's view, is not an abstract virtue or an unattainable ideal, but a transformative force capable of redeeming both the individual and society. He challenges us to look beyond superficial appearances and recognize the common humanity we share with everyone, including those whom society labels as sinners or criminals. A powerful example of this perspective can be found in the character of Sonia Marmeladova in Crime and Punishment. Sonia, a young woman forced into a life of moral compromises by her family's poverty, embodies unconditional compassion. Despite her own desperate situation, she extends love and understanding to Raskolnikov, the tormented murderer. Through Sonia, Dostoevsky shows us the redemptive power of compassion, capable of penetrating even the most tormented souls. The cultivation of this deep compassion in our own lives begins with the recognition of our own fallibility and vulnerability. When we recognize our own struggles and imperfections, we become more capable of extending understanding and compassion to others. Dostoevsky invites us to develop what we might call empathic vision, the ability to see beyond external appearances and recognize the shared humanity that unites us all. It is a practice that requires courage, humility, and an ongoing commitment to personal growth. The development of this empathic vision in our daily lives can be achieved through the practice of active listening and genuine curiosity. When we find ourselves judging someone, we can pause and ask ourselves, what could be the story behind this behavior? What might this person be experiencing that I'm not seeing? Moreover, Dostoevsky reminds us of the importance of extending compassion not only to others but also to ourselves. Many of his characters struggle with intense guilt and self-criticism. Through these struggles, the author shows us that true compassion begins with the acceptance of our own imperfections and vulnerabilities. The relevance of this message to our modern life is profound. In an era of increasing polarization and often toxic public discourse, Dostoevsky's call for empathy and compassion offers a powerful antidote. It reminds us that behind every opinion, every action, every conflict, there are complex human beings struggling with their own doubts, fears, and hopes. Another crucial aspect of Dostoevsky's vision of compassion is its power of mutual transformation. When we extend compassion to others, we not only impact them, but we are also transformed in the process. We see this in how Sonia's act of compassion not only helps Raskolnikov, but also deepens her own strength and understanding. This idea invites us to see compassion not as an act of unilateral sacrifice, but as a practice that enriches and expands our own life experience. By connecting deeply with others, we expand our understanding of the world and ourselves. As we continue our exploration of the Dostoevskian universe, we remember, compassion is not a weakness or naivety, but a powerful force capable of transforming individuals and societies. It is a practice that requires courage, persistence, and an ongoing commitment to personal growth. This emphasis on empathy and compassion is intrinsically linked to Dostoevsky's vision of love, freedom, and individual responsibility, themes he explores with a depth and nuance that continue to challenge and inspire us to this day. At the heart of Dostoevsky's work, pulsing with an intensity that transcends time, we find a primordial force, love. Not romanticized or idealized love, but a deep, complex, and often painful love that has the power to redeem and transform. For Dostoevsky, love is not just a feeling but an active force capable of overcoming selfishness, isolation, and even the deepest darkness of the human soul. Consider, for example, the relationship between Prince Mishkin and Nastasia Filipovna in The Idiot. Mishkin, with his unconditional compassion and selfless love, sees beyond Nastasia's tarnished reputation and recognizes her true inner beauty. This love has the power to offer redemption, even if tragically incomplete, to a woman deeply wounded by society. Harnessing this transformative power of love in a world that often seems to value cynicism and self-interest requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Dostoevsky shows us that true love demands the ability to transcend our natural selfishness and truly open ourselves to the other. Love, in his view, is not an exchange of mutual benefits, but an act of self-transcendence, a willingness to see and value the other for who they truly are, not for what they can offer us. This active love, as Dostoevsky calls it, is not a passive or sentimental love, but an active commitment to seek the good of the other, even when it is difficult or inconvenient. It is a love that requires courage, perseverance, and a willingness to be vulnerable. The cultivation of this active love in our daily lives involves the practice of mindfulness in our relationships. When we interact with others, we can strive to truly see the person, to listen not only to their words, but also to what lies behind them, and to respond to their real needs, not just our own projections. Dostoevsky also reminds us that true love often requires sacrifice. We see this in how Sonia, in Crime and Punishment, sacrifices her own comfort and reputation to support Raskolnikov on his journey of redemption. This sacrificial love is not masochism, but a profound recognition of our fundamental interconnectedness as human beings. The relevance of this message to our modern life is profound. In an era of exacerbated individualism and often superficial relationships, Dostoevsky's call for active and transformative love offers a powerful counterpoint. It reminds us that our true fulfillment comes not from the pursuit of self-interest, but from our ability to connect deeply with others and contribute to something greater than ourselves. Another crucial aspect of Dostoevsky's vision of love is its power to connect us with the transcendent. For Dostoevsky, love was not just a human experience, but a reflection of the divine in the world. Through love, he believed we could glimpse something beyond our mundane existence, touching the eternal and the infinite. This idea is powerfully illustrated in the famous passage from the Brothers Karamazov, where Father Zosima speaks about active love. Love all God's creation, the whole and every grain of sand in it. Love every leaf, every ray of God's light. Love the animals, love the plants, love everything. If you love everything, you will perceive the divine mystery in things. Once you perceive it, you will begin to comprehend it better every day. This vision of love as a cosmic force invites us to expand our understanding of what love can be and do. It is not just a personal feeling, but a force capable of transforming the world around us. The application of this expansive vision of love in our daily lives can be achieved through the practice of what we might call expanding the circle of compassion. We start with those closest to us, family, friends, and gradually expand our circle of concern to include our community, our society, and finally, all of humanity and beyond. This practice helps us overcome the artificial barriers that often separate us from one another. Dostoevsky also reminds us that true love is not always easy or comfortable. Often, it is precisely in the most challenging situations that the transformative power of love is most needed and most powerful. We see this in how Alyosha's love for others in the Brothers Karamazov is tested and strengthened through conflicts and tragedies. This perspective invites us to see the challenges in our relationships not as obstacles to be avoided, but as opportunities for deeper and more transformative love. When we face conflicts or misunderstandings, we can ask ourselves how we can respond with love and use this situation to deepen our capacity to love. The relevance of this message to our modern life cannot be overstated. In a world often characterized by division, fear, and mistrust, Dostoevsky's vision of love as a unifying and transformative force offers a path to healing and renewal, both personal and social. As we conclude our exploration of the Dostoevskian universe, we remember the transformative power of love is not a philosophical abstraction, but a real force that we can cultivate and apply in our daily lives. It is a call to see beyond superficial appearances, to recognize the shared humanity in every person we encounter, and to open ourselves to the possibility of transformation, our own and others, through the power of active and unconditional love. This love, as Dostoevsky shows us, has the power to illuminate even the darkest corners of our souls, offering redemption, healing, and a path to a fuller and more meaningful existence. It is through this love that we can truly understand how Dostoevsky's darkness can indeed illuminate our lives in profound and lasting ways. As we close this journey through Dostoevsky's world, we are left with a challenge and a promise. The challenge of embracing the complexity of our human nature, of courageously facing suffering and uncertainty, and of cultivating an active and transformative love in our lives. And the promise that, in doing so, we can not only find meaning and purpose in our own lives, but also contribute to the creation of a more compassionate, understanding, and deeply human world. Dostoevsky's ideas, though born in a specific historical context, transcend time and space, offering profound and relevant insights for our modern era. They invite us on a journey of self-discovery, personal growth, and social transformation. A journey that, though challenging, promises profound rewards in terms of understanding, connection, and fulfillment. As we integrate these lessons into our lives, we can begin to see the world with new eyes that recognize the complexity and beauty of human experience, that see beyond superficial appearances to the deeper truth of our fundamental interconnectedness. We can learn to embrace our own duality, to find meaning in suffering, to cultivate empathy and compassion, and to love in a way that transcends selfishness and touches the universal. This is Dostoevsky's enduring legacy, not just as a great writer, but as a profound explorer of the human soul. His works offer us not just literary entertainment, but a map for navigating the complexities of human existence. A map that, if followed with courage and openness, can lead us to a richer, more meaningful, and more deeply connected life. The practical application of Dostoevsky's ideas in our daily lives begins with self-reflection. We can ask ourselves, how am I facing my own internal conflicts? Am I recognizing both the light and the shadow within me? Am I using my experiences of suffering as opportunities for growth? How am I creating meaning in my life, especially in the face of challenges or uncertainties? Moreover, we can practice active empathy in our daily interactions. When we encounter someone who irritates us or whom we don't understand, we can make a conscious effort to see beyond superficial behavior and consider the struggles and experiences that may be shaping their actions. This practice not only improves our relationships, but also expands our own understanding of the human condition. Cultivating Dostoevsky's active love can begin with small acts of kindness and consideration. We can strive to be truly present in our interactions, listening attentively and responding with compassion. We can look for opportunities to serve others, not out of obligation, but as an expression of our shared connection. In terms of the search for meaning, we can adopt Dostoevsky's perspective that meaning is something we actively create, not something we simply find. This may involve setting personal goals that go beyond self-interest, engaging in causes larger than ourselves, or simply approaching our daily tasks with a renewed sense of purpose and intention. Exploring Dostoevsky's ideas also invites us to a deeper engagement with art and literature. We can seek out works that challenge us, that make us question our assumptions and expand our understanding of the world. Attentive and reflective reading of great literary works can be a powerful form of personal development and expansion of consciousness. Furthermore, Dostoevsky's ideas about the duality of human nature and the importance of compassion can inform our approach to social and political issues. Instead of demonizing those we disagree with, we can strive to understand the complexities behind different perspectives. This doesn't mean abandoning our convictions, but approaching them with greater humility and openness. Dostoevsky's view of suffering as a potential catalyst for growth can help us navigate difficult times with more resilience and purpose. When we face challenges, we can ask ourselves not just, why is this happening to me, but also, what can I learn from this? How can this make me a stronger or wiser person? Dostoevsky's concept of active love can be particularly transformative in our closest relationships. We can strive to love not just when it's easy or convenient, but especially when it's difficult. This might mean extending forgiveness, offering unconditional support, or simply being present with someone in their suffering. In our search for meaning, we can adopt Dostoevsky's perspective that our choices and actions have a profound impact not just on our own lives but on the world around us. Each act of kindness, each ethical choice, each effort to understand and connect with others contributes to the creation of a more compassionate and meaningful world. The exploration of deep psychology that Dostoevsky offers in his works also invites us to greater self-knowledge. We can engage in practices such as journaling, meditation, or therapy to explore the deepest corners of our own minds, facing our fears, desires, and contradictions with honesty and courage. Finally, Dostoevsky's vision of the interconnectedness of all life can inspire us to greater ecological awareness and global responsibility. We can strive to see how our actions affect not just those immediately around us, but the entire web of life of which we are a part. By embracing these ideas and practices, we are not only honoring Dostoevsky's legacy, but also embarking on our own journey of growth and transformation. We are accepting the invitation to live more fully, more compassionately, and more meaningfully. Dostoevsky's darkness, far from being depressing or nihilistic, serves as an invitation to explore the depths of our own humanity. By courageously confronting our own shadows, by embracing the complexity of our nature, and by striving to love actively and create meaning in our lives, we can discover an inner light that illuminates not just our own lives, but the world around us. This journey is not easy. It requires courage, persistence, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths about ourselves and the world. But as Dostoevsky shows us through his unforgettable characters and powerful stories, it is a journey worth undertaking. As we conclude our exploration of the Dostoevskyan universe, we are left not with definitive answers, but with profound questions and transformative insights. We are invited to continue this exploration in our own lives, to dive into the depths of our own human experience with the same courage and compassion that Dostoevsky demonstrated in his works. The true power of Dostoevsky's ideas lies not just in their philosophical depth or brilliant psychological exploration, but in their ability to inspire us to live more authentically, more compassionately, and more fully human. By integrating these ideas into our lives, we can not only find a new sense of purpose and meaning for ourselves, but also contribute to the creation of a more understanding, more empathetic, and more deeply connected world. Thus, Dostoevsky's darkness reveals itself not as an end in itself, but as a portal to a deeper and more enduring light, a light that has the power to transform not just our individual lives, but our entire understanding of what it means to be human in this vast and mysterious universe. See you next time.